The latest in our series spotlighting the restaurants that get 5-star reviews from the Boston Globe. Lynn's Nightshade Noodle Bar left one hell of an impression on Globe food critic Deborah First, who wrote, "I am still marveling over the food with the friend I've shared it with, as well as the couple at the table to my right. They're here celebrating a birthday. To my left, it's an anniversary. This is a wonderful place to come with someone you love when both of you love food. What better praise could there be, really?" Nightshade has 7 to 14-course tasting menus of Vietnamese and French-inspired dishes with everything from sea urchin and beluga caviar to bone marrow banh mi and a revolving door of other options. Nightshade Noodle Bar chef and owner Rachel Miller joined me just yesterday. Rachel, it's great to see you.
Great to see you.
Can we go back in history a little bit? I hope I get this right. I'm thinking about when we first spoke. You were a teenager, if I remember correctly, working in a truck stop donut shop in Mississippi. Is that, did I get all the elements? I did get them all right?
Right, yeah.
I can't believe I remembered. So how did you get from there to Boston, for starters? What happened?
Well, my father lived in Mississippi and he owned that donut shop.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
And it was at the only stoplight in town at the time. And that was my very, very first kitchen gig. I just did an overnight shift with him making donuts for truck drivers.
But how do you get from a truck stop in Mississippi to Boston?
Well, my mother lived in Norfolk, Virginia. There's a Chinatown bus. And basically a friend of mine whose name was Destiny, funny enough, she walked up to me one day and she's like, "Let's get out of here. You want to go to Boston?" And I was like, "Sure."
And that was it?
That was it. We got Chinatown bus tickets and just came up, got jobs.
Okay, and one of the jobs you had over the years you were in Boston was with people like Ken Orange or at Clio, I think, right?
Yes.
And so you did a bunch of that stuff. And then ultimately you go from Boston to Lynn. How did that move happen? That was like 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
About 7 years ago now. I was going through a breakup.
And I say, I'm breaking up, so I'll go to Lynn?
Yeah, well, I was looking for a place and a friend called out of the blue and was like, "Well, I do have this room available. It's in Lynn." And I was like, "Cool, I'm sold. I'll be there."
So if that friend lived in Salem, you would have been in Salem? Is that...
Sure, yeah, I would have been wherever.
Had you ever been to Lynn before?
No,
okay,
never.
so you start from what I recall, you start a pop-up and you do some meals in people's homes. Right. And then from what I recall from our prior conversation, didn't the city help you in some ways to transition from that form of your business to actually owning the restaurant?
Yes.
How? So how'd that happen?
The city is very instrumental. I actually got a loan through the EDIC, the Economic Development Industrial Council, and they were very helpful with all the steps of that process. And those loans are mostly for like minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, those with lower income looking to open a business, and have gone through all the steps and basically like proven that they are able to do so.
And that wouldn't so this wouldn't have happened were it not for the city's intervention here?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I wasn't in a position to get to go directly to the SBA.
You know, when I first met you, I think you opened right before the pandemic, is that not right?
5 months.
And then I was at your place for the first time. Unlike so many people who've sat there who do what you do, who had a miserable time during the pandemic, from what I've read, you actually prospered, you grew. How do you explain that? Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it had to do with so much practice via the pop-up. We did a lot of takeout pop-ups, so I already had like a portfolio of dishes that I knew would travel, that were already costed out. I already knew how to package them. There wasn't really a whole lot of, we didn't have to waste any time trying to think about how to deliver the product.
And one of the things I loved, I didn't even know it till I got there, you required vaccination. One of very few, like Pagu and Kangaroo, in very few places took a chance because it upset a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it did.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why are you laughing? It upset a lot of people.
It upset a lot of people, yeah. And we rocked the boat big time with that. I was completely unaware of how much that would, how much friction that might cause. But it was very short-lived. I did it to protect the staff. Like, even though we were in the shutdown, people, you know, we had the patio open, guests still had to come inside to use the restroom, and they still, you know, we had to accommodate some people being inside, and most of my staff at the time was middle-aged women and older, and until recently, that's been the majority of the staff at Nightshade is just a totally different age group.
Got it.
That I was, it's like they're
I
like
love
my
it.
parents.
Okay, let's do a little food and then we'll keep talking for a
Sure.
second. So let's start over there. Can I start over there?
Yes, please.
What is that thing?
This is
Is it okay? Is it foul if I just take some?
Oh, no, please.
Okay, so what is it?
This is our cabbage salad. This is shaved cabbage
Oh.
with green apple and mint and
What's that brown stuff on top?
crispy shallots.
Fabulous. Really, really good. And is there more in that thing that you're not telling me about?
On the bottom there is barbecued maitake mushrooms. So we use make a oyster sauce based barbecue, and buttermilk maple nak cham.
And you're a tasting menu place now, right?
Yeah, we've evolved into that.
Why'd you do that?
I needed to make sure that we hit a certain check average per seat in order to survive. The pandemic was so expensive and we lost a ton of money just like everybody, and I didn't have any footing before the shutdown. I was only open for 5 months, and we definitely didn't open in a very secure position, much like most restaurants.
Were you scared at that time? Were you, I mean, even though it turned out it worked, you were petrified that this wasn't going to last, right, after you finally had your own place?
Definitely, yeah.
How'd you get through that part of it?
Luckily, my staff had a lot of faith at the time, and they kept showing up every day and giving their all, and were very invested in that. I basically was at a point where I was just showing up for them and just kept doing this for them.
That's great.
And our teamwork just really
Okay, I don't even
awesome.
know what to do next. I assume I'm supposed to, that's a homemade potato chip or no?
No.
Okay, so I'm supposed to
We're not good
pick
at
up a potato chip and I assume dip it in this thing?
Yes.
What is the thing I'm going to dip it in?
We call it egg spuma, which is a word that we just made up.
And what is it in reality?
It's essentially like an egg salad puree that we aerate, which has since deflated a little bit, but it's basically all of the traditional accompaniments with a caviar service, like an old school caviar service, boiled egg, shallots, chives, whole 9 yards. And
They serve caviar at that truck stop in Mississippi, or they
No.
didn't? They didn't think so. Okay, so I assume I do this. Whoops. I do
Yep.
this, and then caviar is the next. Oh, you put it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll help you out here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You put it on top. And then I just pop this thing in, correct?
Yep.
In toto? Okay, hold on a second. Oh my God. That is unbelievable.
Thank you.
So this would be part, excuse me for chewing while I'm talking to you, but
Quite
no
all right.
option. This will be part of either a 7 or a 12 or 14 course tasting menu. Give us a sample of what other kinds of things one might get. This is really unbelievable. Go ahead,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Every single tasting gets this. We do, I probably
a
have
couple
like
of examples.
23 dishes on the menu
Well,
right now.
pick 2 that really stand out, 2 or 3 that you really care about.
Okay. One of them is, we call it the lobster glacé.
What's that?
And it is, we get local lobsters from Marblehead, one of our fishermen, and we poach those claws and tails separately. We make a nice broth with the bodies. We infuse that with smoked vanilla beans, which we smoke in-house. And then we make this lovely, like, aromatic lobster broth. We make a butter sauce with it, which is the glacé. And it gets served in a little ice cream dish similar to this, but it's clear crystal. It gets garnished with chili and like a smoked vanilla chili vinaigrette. And then we use the same broth to make like a foam, so it's sort of like a lobster cappuccino kind of situation.
Yeah, when I came to your place, I asked one of the servers, "Where's Rachel?" And they laughed and said, "In the kitchen, obviously." I'm guessing this being here with me is like the longest break you've had from work since you opened. I mean, it probably is, right?
Yeah,
this is all you
definitely.
do. This is what you do.
This is what I do.
This is what you do.
happily.
Well, it's and I mean, you've also opened, I think, next door, the Sin City, as in Lynn, City of Sin, Superette, right? And a
Yes.
friend of mine who has been there, and these are her words, not mine. They sell from caviar to condoms. Is that is an accurate description
Yes.
of what? I mean, what is it? What do you do? What is it?
Well, I wanted a convenience store because we really need that on the block. And I live across the street. I've lived in the neighborhood for 7 years.
Which is downtown Lynn, I should say.
Downtown Lynn, yeah. And we needed another convenience store that just had different offerings than the others. And I wanted to sell the Nightshade items that we already have. So we do some of our things for retail. We have caviar that we brand and sell through there. We also sell like diapers and
It's great.
pacifiers and all kinds
You
of
know,
stuff.
I think the Senator Crichton, is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Was here the other night on Question 4, on the side of preserving the law that allows undocumented people to have licenses. But he's not the only elected official I've spoken to from Lynn. And quite often, because you're about the only person I know in Lynn, I brought you up. The revitalization of downtown, every elected official with whom I spoke said you were central to, I mean, in a really positive way. I mean, the downtown of Lynn, from when you moved there to even now, just 6 or 7 years later, is a dramatically different kind of thing, is it not?
It is, yeah. The street that I live on and have both of my businesses on, 2 of the buildings were boarded up, abandoned when I got there. Just, you know, trash on the streets, very dark, gloomy.
Totally different picture
Nothing.
now, right?
Yeah, totally different
So
picture.
are you all Lynn all the time? If you do, I mean, you've done 2 things so far. If you do a third, or it's all Lynn all the time, right? I mean, that's you.
At least that's where I'm at right now. I think if an opportunity comes up that would be worth me not being at Nightshade as often as I am right now, then it's worth exploring. But so far, no.
Before you go, that looks like a cup of water. I mean,
Yeah.
is that right? So what happens? I'm not supposed to drink it, am I?
No.
What am I supposed to do?
These are little coin towels they're like for camping and traveling.
It's a towel?
Yes, it's a
and
towel.
And you drop it in the water?
Yes,
And
we
what
serve
happens?
this. It turns into
Oh my God.
Yeah, you just pick it up.
And you pull it out
apart.
and you wipe your hands from the caviar and the egg, whatever the hell it is thing?
Yes, and any shellfish. A lot of our food is like you eat with your hands, and it is a little messy. And this is just on the table with most of the dishes.
Well, I'm thrilled for your success. I'm thrilled for the 5-star rating. Do you mind doing that one more time before we go?
Oh, not at all.
And people should go. It's great. It's a great place, and you're spectacular. Thank you. It's great to see you, Rachel.
Thank you. It's great to see you as well.
Nightshade Noodle Bar, excuse me, in Lynn. You can look forward to me talking with my mouth full again next week when our series in the Globe's 5-star restaurants continues with Ostra.